I'm going to be honest with you. I've tried a bit of everything on YouTube in 2025, and the good things, they didn't work out very well, but some did. And I'm going to share both in tonight's session, and I will make sure that I will include the successful stories that they burned me out to some extent. So stay with me. I was muted. Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the Witty Vítor Podcast. Tonight, I'm reflecting on what actually worked on YouTube to me in 2025 and what didn't. No hacks, no gurus, just real lessons from building this channel in public. We will talk about formats, collaboration, energy, and why not everything needs to go viral to matter. Along the way, or later in this podcast, prominent collaborators will also be participating to share their perspectives. So if you are curious about what long-form YouTube really means and looks like behind the scenes, you are in the right place, because that's what I'm going to show you tonight. So before diving into the channel itself, I would like to give you a recap of how was 2025 to me, say, on a personal level. So I think some people will be familiar with a couple of events, some people not as much, some people just started to follow my errands in the middle of the year. But in January, I went through a surgery. It wasn't a very complicated surgery, but it was still a surgery. And, you know, all surgeries, they came with recover. And it was the first time I was subjected to full anesthesia. So the year started in a tough manner, I would say. I was nervous, I was anxious, but with the grace of God, things were not that complicated. I managed to leave the hospital on the same day. The recovery itself took maybe a month or two, but it gave me the urgency that perhaps I was looking for quite some time. I heard the clock ticking. I got some understanding or a reminder, because I was already aware, but probably I was given a reminder that we are not here forever, and we must take action before we regret. So that was January, okay? That was January, right at the start of the year. It was actually on the 28th of January, which is also the date that I've started this YouTube channel in 2024. Now, moving to June, okay? June was also one of those months that I will never, ever forget. So I've traveled to Israel for cultural events that didn't occur. And instead, as you may remember, Iran and Israel got into war. They were already exchanging nasty words for quite some time, but they got into real action. And yeah, I ended up running into bunkers, and eventually I was evacuated from the country via the Egyptian border, and that was with the support of a Portuguese embassy, who organized a spectacular military operation. So that itself was another reminder that life can change all the time. We can be in the wrong place, wrong time. So we better get busy with things that matter and make the most of the time we spend on this planet. I got some sense of pressure, and I redeveloped my gratitude gestures for the gift I've been given of life. So that was June, okay? Month after, and I'm not going to bother you much, but just to give you some context of where I am now. Sorry, just a moment. In July, I quitted my 9 to 5. That was something I had in mind for quite some time, and eventually I did in mid-July. It was actually 18th of July, so it's now 5 months. It seems a life away since my routine radically changed. Although I was already doing this on the side and a couple of other things, but the fact that this now is my main activity given me the impression that I'm a completely new person. So that was an act of courage in July, and I would say that the risks they just started. They will kick in as they will kick in the next few months, or if not immediately. Now this was July, okay, and then in December I finally launched my own business. I think I promoted it perhaps in November. I think I used the YouTube community posts and started something called the Ring of Culture, and that's actually a structure where I want to develop a couple of things that I've been busy with, but in a very timid manner. But now I can expand because I have the time, effort, and availability. It's mostly about culture, but we'll get into the Ring of Culture a bit later. Now I want to focus in the YouTube channel. By the way, the chat box is open, so guys, if you are more than welcome to participate on this. I will run the show for most of the evening. A couple of prominent collaborators will take part, but yeah, use chat box. So I want to make sure that this is dynamic. So yeah, so going back to my personal life, so all of those events, as I just described, they were happening while I was working hard on building this YouTube channel. So that put me a lot of pressure, and I'd say often I found myself at the verge of the burnout. I'd say I was not always aware that I was nearly collapsing, but it was tough. It was tough to manage doing multiple things at the same time. And actually, I learned that I'm better off working by blocks, which is something I intend to implement as I develop the Ring of Culture. I had to put a lot of work in managing my emotions, my stamina, which I'd say, are deeply connected. You cannot really keep yourself active if your emotions are dragging you down, and if your emotions are accelerated, then you can also be overwhelmed. So it's a very tough position to be in, but I think I managed to stay in the game, and I'm delighted with it. At the start of the year, meaning of starting of 2025, I set a couple of New Year's resolutions. That's something I've been doing for a few years, and one of them was related to this YouTube channel. Okay, so I wanted to hit 100,000 subscribers and 3,000 watch hours, and I would be happy, to be very honest. At the start, I would be happy if I would achieve only one, because I was not that optimistic. But my sentiments, they changed. I realized that I could hit both, and eventually I did with a lot of discipline and with your contribution, guys. So I want to also take the opportunity to thank you, because some of you that are watching now may have subscribed to this channel, may have shared with friends, and all that little contributions help to where I am now. But the human psyche, it's very, very tricky. So I'm no longer satisfied with 3,000 hours, and I can't wait to get to 4,000. And for those who are familiar with how YouTube works, there is a differentiator between hitting 3,000 and 4,000. So at 3,000, you can unlock partial monetization. With 4,000, then you get it all. And the biggest or the tastiest part of the cake are the ads, which I think I can get into very soon. I'd say, and I'm going to say it openly, I think there's no reason for me not to get there after spring. So yeah, so the channel is now, I want to take the advantage of we are talking about this now. Channel is now partially monetized. Okay, So if you look at the chat box, there is I think a dollar emoji, okay, and that can be used to support my YouTube channel. You can either send me a super chat or a super thanks. These are just little contributions, but they all help to keep this project staying independent and not relying in institutions or some nasty players out there that I don't want to really get busy with. I'd rather do this myself, be able to stick to the things I want to talk to, and not depending on major donors or that kind of groups. Besides, we also have channel memberships. Okay, so for those who want to go a bit further, you can also. So this is following. You can also access special perks if you become a member of this YouTube channel. There are two levels to be part of the Witty team. One is Witty Mate, another is Witty Diplomat. So if you want to have a look, I believe there is a button next to the thumbs up where you can see the levels and you can choose the one that suits you best. I want to take the opportunity to express my gratitude for those who already joined. So thank you very much. That's a major gesture, and that keeps me going, because there are those days that I'm not that motivated, because that's how life is. There are occasions where one is boosted, and there are others where you feel drained and not that energetic. Talking about teamwork, let me just get some water. Talking about teamwork is a very interesting topic. So I'd say that 2024, okay, which was my year of debut, was all about foundation or exploration. So I was just trying to find my way to understand YouTube while I was using, which is risky, because this is not something that you do on the basement and it stays there. This is something that you do on camera. It's broadcasted to others, and you need to be very responsible with your words, with the way you present yourself. But sometimes, you need to learn on the spot, and I think that's what I did in 2024. I'm very grateful that I had that drive to start in 2024. I couldn't have waited much longer. I was still at my 9 to 5, but I felt I was running out of time, and eventually I think I did it on the right time. Maybe I could have started even earlier. That's something that you tend to think when you notice that you actually enjoy what you are doing and it's going on the right direction. But it is what it is. I started in 2024. 2025, so the year that is now coming to an end, I'd say it was the year of collaboration. And the reason is I brought a few people in, and with their participation, I managed to build a few series, okay? And they turned this YouTube channel not exactly into a podcast, but into a few series. And that's something that I intend to keep, but we'll talk about 2026 later. But for now, let's just focus in the present year that we are now reviewing. I learned very clear that I couldn't build this channel on my own. It was just too much to handle. Although I'm the main person or the individual with the upper hand, I really need people on my side. Not just to participate, but there are other benefits that sometimes are invisible, say network, or even some common suggestions that you might not perceive because you are too attached to what you are doing. And if there is someone next to you, you may be able to see other ways of doing these things. So I want to say I owe a lot to those individuals, and I'm happy that some of them are going to join this session a bit later. So tonight, just I want want to say their names before they arrive. We're going to have Cornell from the Witty Vítor Podcast, which is about the League of Ireland or Irish football. We have Jeroen and Maria, who are the witty writers with whom I do the Witty Week for Writers workshop every Monday. Normally, every month, usually on a Tuesday. And I also have Carlos Romeira, with whom I do the Portuguese podcast about Israel with Sofia, who is not able to join us tonight, unfortunately, because of the Hanukkah celebrations. So they will join in a few minutes, one by one. But Jeroen and Maria will come together since they're a team. So stay with us if you are if you are fed up with me, the others joining. And just to recap what this podcast is for, the Witty Vítor Podcast. So I've started interviewing people. So it was basically a one-on-one chat format. And that's something I still do from time to time when I encounter someone interested and with an availability that matches mine. So there was not a lot this year, but hopefully I can have more in the upcoming year. Then we have the Israel-related webinars. They happen for the most part in English on Wednesday evening. But around July, if I recall well, we started doing it in Portuguese every second Tuesday, and it was a success. I think we are filling a gap, and it's important to keep these conversations, especially because I don't know many other individuals doing it on YouTube or in other platforms. We'll talk with Carlos about it, and we will try to expand our ideas and share our understanding of what we achieved to date. And then we have the Witty Vítor or the League of Ireland chats. They happen often on Thursday. So myself, Cornell, and sometimes one or two guests more, we discuss the last League of Ireland matches and what games we have in the next couple of days. And last but not least, we have the Witty Vítor Writers Workshop. We as I said, we do it every month, and that's something that has been a success. And as a matter of fact, it's not only happening on this platform, but we also expanded to in-person format. There was also a quick series in November on men's health, which was inspired by my Movember campaign. I would like to reinstate that series, not necessarily wait for November, but maybe, I don't know, use some other motive to bring it back. Because I think these conversations, they shouldn't be season-based, but they are relevant for the whole year. So I expect that at some point I can bring it back and make it a regular series. Just as we all know, time is a struggle. So question for you that are watching me: if you were to tell me what would you like to see more of what I just described in the upcoming year, between one-on-one interviews, Israel-related webinars, League of Ireland discussions, Witty Vítor writers, or men's health series, what would be your suggestion? Is there anything that I should double down, or if there's anything that you think I can add to my YouTube channel, let me know. Perhaps there's an angle that I've been missing, and I'm happy to explore. So the chat box is open. Just let me know, and I will for sure will take into consideration, because I think your advice is very, very useful, because I'm in this bubble, and sometimes I need a third eye to look at opportunities that I might not be aware of. Just getting some water here. Should have keep this open. So that's something that definitely worked. Series. I had it in mind already last year in 2024. Just I didn't have the logistics to put it in place. But I realize as I doing it that series are crucial, they are essential. One reason is that they build a community. So it's not just a one-off that it may work well, but we can create a group of individuals that will be our recurrent audience. They will provide us with insights. We will share some information back, and we can all benefit from that exchange. This is not cursing on one-to-one interviews. I think they are fantastic, and as I mentioned, I will be very happy to bring them back. They allow me to meet new people, and I think I would never ever get tired of talking to someone on a one-on-one basis. Also because there are advantage. It's more private. You can access to certain parts of the individual that likely you want if others are around. So one-on-one interviews, for sure, they will be part of this YouTube channel in the near future. Now, series are addictive in the best sense of the word. And that brings me to what I would say, what is it? A downside. Yeah, that's the word. So once you start them, it's very hard to put them on hold or put an end on it, because they are too, I'd say they are too enjoyable, and that you realize that at some stage you have to do them because you've started. And one of the reasons why I started working for myself, that I wanted to do something that I'm interested in, and not because I have to. Okay, and there were occasions like during this year. I need to fix this. Okay, it's better now. There were occasions during this year that I felt that I had to jump into these conversations because it was a duty. I know that there are working for yourself is not only roses. You are not having the time of your life 24/7. Okay, so I was prepared, but it's different, of course, when you are facing those struggles. So overall, I think joy and satisfaction, they were two crucial elements of this this year when it comes to YouTube, and that kept me going. So if it continues that way, despite some overwhelming situations, some stress here and there, I'm more and more happy to continue this way. And of course, I'm open to explore different formats that may come along the way. I'm more than pleased to experiment other methodologies and ventures. But I think this formal is something that I can extend for quite some time. Now I'm delighted to keep this series and collaborators and all that. I need to be reminded that these things here, as much as the others contribute, they work on my terms. So, and I cannot just let it go. This is all a joint effort, okay? But end of the day, sometimes I need to make decisions that are not always easy, and I do that often, and always with the prospect of the best for the YouTube channel, say the best for the team. Okay, so I think overall, it's all the main objective are numbers and feedback. So one is seeing the views going up, and the other is getting comments that are positive or are fulfilling. So so YouTube, I would say YouTube is it's hard work. It's very, very rewarding, but it is hard work. This is part for me, honestly, is what I'm doing now, and I'm not pretending. I have no issue like talking on camera. I enjoy it. And I think the fact that I like what I'm doing makes it easier. Everything else, okay, everything else, say preparation, promotion, paperwork, that requires a lot of discipline. And what I mean discipline is that you need to be prepared to do things that you're not always interested in, but they are necessary. I would call it what's the word? Admin. So those are the things that you do on the background, and you know that without them, the show cannot go on. And you want the show to go on because it's your show, and you enjoy it. But for that to work, you need to make sure that the machinery, it's ready to functioning. So, as I said earlier, I'm happy with the. So I just lost my notes. I'm happy with where I am now, but I'm still aiming forward. 2025 was the year of collaboration, as 2024 was the year of foundation, and I see 2026 as the year of consolidation. So almost like a third layer. Okay, so that's like a layer that couldn't exist without the previous two. Just have a comment here from Marcos. The show must go on. Of course. And the show has to be bigger than the presenter. No, that's how one sees creation. At least that's how I perceive it, probably in a very Nietzschean manner. Thank you, Marcos. Happy Christmas for you. Talking about numbers, only about 10% of YouTube channels, they reach 1,000 subscribers. Only 10%, which is nothing. I don't know how many YouTube channels exist, but 10% is barely nothing in the wide scheme of things. So if that's not already a narrow door, it gets even narrower when it comes to unlock the first level of monetization, meaning hitting 500 subscribers and 3,000 hours in 12 months. So for that, we'll talk about 5%. 5%, it's a small, tiny fraction of YouTube. Okay, it's really like finding a tiny object in the middle of chaos. So I looked at the stats, and for those who reach 4,000 hours in 12 months, that's about 4% of YouTube. Okay, that's also very, very little, but it's not a major difference comparing to the 5% that reached 3,000. The reason is for those who are already at that level, it means that they understood YouTube. So they speak the YouTube language, or what I call the YouTube-ish. Now, when you are at that level, it doesn't mean that you are making millions. It just means that you are ahead of millions of channels. And that's an important reminder. The door is narrow. And if you already crossed a few narrow doors, you should remain both humble and proud. Humble because you know that there are others ahead of you, and proud because your previous self, the one you've shed along the way, probably wouldn't have imagined that you have made this far. So that's my initial confession. Let's put it like that. I just got Cornell, so I'm going to bring him in, and we will talk about his understanding of or his experience in this YouTube channel. Cornell, my good friend, how are you?
Oh, I'm very well. Thank you very much. Thank you for having me on this evening.
Yeah, we haven't spoken for over a month because Rigo Farman is now on a break. I'd like to ask you how are you missing the League of Firemen action, because I know you are a passionate fan.
I'm missing it a lot. Obviously the fixtures have already been released already. Obviously we have to wait until the 6th of February for it to start, but you know, we've seen some new faces move across the border. Obviously Dara Markey moving to Derry City. Obviously Shamrock Rovers not doing very well in Europe and been is out of Europe at the moment. But look, I think the League of Ireland is going to be very, very competitive once again. I think we're going to see new contenders in the League of Ireland. I think we'll see Derry City, you know, be the new contenders for the title, and I think challenge Shamrock Rovers for the title. So it'll be very, very interesting. And Dundalk as well, I think are also looking good as well. So it's looking really good at the moment.
As you can see, Cornell is a Bible of the League of Firemen. Even though there are no matches, you know, he still knows it from inside out. I'm sure you are keeping an eye on the transfers, and I'm even more sure that you are very pleased with the news when it comes to your dear Lincoln City. I can see your smile. Go on.
Yeah, I'm buzzing. Josh Houlihan going to Lincoln City is just absolutely so brilliant. Look, Josh Houlihan obviously is going to be a massive blow to Shamrock Rovers, his back line. Highly rated player who really gives 100% on his game. Never afraid to go forward and score. You know, versatile in his game and defense from left back to right back and right centre back, and also can play left midfield as well. Obviously he helped Shamrock Rovers win the double of the FI Cup and the League of Ireland title for a 5th consecutive time. So, you know, look, Josh Houlihan is moving on to new things, and I think as it was said by Daniel MacDonald, that obviously that Shamrock Rovers could be weakened, and obviously look, they've added Ender Stevens in. Obviously, I think they need a left back to replace Josh Houlihan, and I think Stephen Bradley will spend the money wisely. Won't spend it unwisely with just because they've got big money in the box. But look, I think Josh Houlihan is just absolutely going to be something special, and he's going to help us Lincoln City on the road to promotion, get automatic promotion, and end the 64-year wait. Obviously, he'll go straight into the link to our team, obviously at left back, and Adam Reach, who's playing there at the moment, will push forward and play in a midfield attacking role in our Lincoln City team. But Josh Houlihan is everything like how Jack Moylan is, because Jack Moylan was the same. It took him a while for him to get going, and then after a while he started to really get used to what League One is about, because playing in the EFL is not it's not easy for similar League of Ireland players. Some League of Ireland players can go into it straight away and they can easily just fit right in, and then there's some they're not really used to it. Like playing in the Championship, for prime example, is very, very difficult. But as I say, I think depending on what team you're playing for and what the style of formation and how you link up with your other teammates, then everything will be goes all right. But Josh Houlihan to the Imps, obviously won't be obviously it'll be revealed during the Christmas period, but won't be signed officially until January 1st. But obviously he's going to really be something else in League One, and I'm just looking forward to seeing how he really adapts to Michael Scabala's 4-2-3-1 and stuff. But he's going to bring so much versatility and so much positivity to our Lincoln City team.
Yeah, for sure. I think Shamrock Rovers are going to miss that lad, but yeah, he deserves the move, and I wish him all the best. I would like to ask you something we haven't really discussed, because we stopped these League of Ireland conversations in November, but both Shelburne and Shamrock Rovers, they're underperforming. I think especially the Tawa team, we would expect them to be competing at least for the playoff, and they are near the bottom. What failed in your estimation?
I think what failed, I mean, for both teams, Shamrock and Shells, I think, first of all, Shamrock Rovers, we'll start with them, obviously. Obviously, we all know that they're out of the UEFA Conference League, and it's very upsetting to see them go, not be in it. I did expect them to have a good European Cup run, but when you've got certain key players that are leaving and obviously going out the door, and then of course they've got injuries as well. Mandroyu's out with a crucial ligament injury, which is a very, very big blow. You know, they've lost certain players that obviously could be heading out the door, and it's kind of like difficult for Stephen Bradley to really understand. But look, I think the failure behind it is that they've got a weak side now. Yes, Ender Stevens has signed officially, hasn't played yet, but will play at some point, probably in pre-season or something, and then obviously playing in the new season. But I think it shows that Shamrock Rovers, obviously from the success of the FI Cup to the League of Ireland retaining the title for a fifth consecutive time, I think also I think that's had an effect as well. And then I think also Josh Houlihan coming to us, Lincoln City Football Club as well, is also having an effect on the team as well. Shelburne, obviously, look, Shelburne's done really well this season. You got to give credit to Joey O'Brien on how well he's really adapted since being the new manager of Shelburne. Obviously, they have some certain players, obviously, that could be heading out the door, obviously, with no football playing time, obviously, and going to other clubs, obviously. You have to. Joey O'Brien has proven once and for all that he is, soon to be at some point an elite manager. But I think it's. I mean, I don't know why the draw is always mean towards Irish teams, to be honest, and it kind of like really baffs me about it. But sometimes I think it's more like a test, really, for the team as well. But I think, I think the failure behind it, obviously, I think is that obviously the group was very difficult, and it's kind of like had an impact on them. Like, we all expected Shelburne to retain the title this season just finished, but it hasn't really happened, and obviously have a good cup run in the European in the UEFA Conference League, but it hasn't happened. But look, I think Joey O'Brien has proven that he can build a team around his Shells team. He can bring in as the best players that he feels he can, depending on where he's looking, either in the free agent list or looking on the loan or the permanent transfer list. And as long as he brings the right players in, I think they'll have an amazing season next season. But I think, talking to Shamrock Rovers, I think the failure is the injuries has played a part. Maybe players leaving, like Houlihan and others leaving as well, is a big blow. But look, I think Shamrock Rovers and Shells will get back to their very best for next season. So as long as they can recruit well, bring in the right players, I think both Shells and Shamrock Rovers will be all right.
Right. So we count on you for 2026 League of Ireland kickoff in late January. We will do a season preview, but let's just stretch things. You just mentioned draw, and let's talk about the Road Cup in June. England didn't get a very easy group, Cornell. Are you still confident they're going to lift the trophy?
Oh, 100%. Yes. I think the draw spoke for itself. Obviously, Ghana is in the draw, of course. Croatia's in the draw. So, it's obviously Panama, obviously, who England's played previously in the World Cup, a long time ago. So it's going to be very interesting. I think what will be interesting as well is Thomas Tuchel picks, and I think the questions and the debate will be around who plays in that number 10 role for England. I mean, obviously, if you had to pick who plays in that number 10 role, it's normally more either Morgan Rogers or Phil Foden. But I think for me, if I was being very picky, and if I was Thomas Tuchel now, I'd be picking between Morgan Rogers and Cole Palmer, because obviously Cole Palmer plays, when Cole Palmer's in the England team, is a different team. I mean, under Gareth Southgate, he was being benched. He wasn't being played as much as you expect him to be. He was only coming playing when needed. And obviously Thomas Tuchel, who's managed Chelsea before, will obviously bring some Chelsea players into the England team. But look, I think England will be all right. I mean, obviously they don't have to bump into a Spain until the semi-final, or France until the semi-finals. I mean, the route probably might not be as easy as expects, but England will get through it and get as far to the final and lift that trophy and end the 50 years of it. So it's not over yet.
Yeah, we will do another World Cup review, perhaps in May or June, with you and a couple of others. That's something that we cannot miss. Just before I let you go, I'd like to ask you, how did you find being here every Thursday discussing the League of Ireland? What did you learn? What were your takeaways from this experience?
Me being on here and talking the League of Ireland has been fantastic this year. I've learned a lot of things about the League of Ireland. Obviously, I've been following the League of Ireland since the Mark Kennedy era of Lincoln City. I remember I used to go on a podcast show with one or two lads from the League of Ireland, Conor McVoy, obviously, who's doing very well with his Landstand Raw podcast show. The League of Ireland has really taught me a lot. I've learned a lot from the League of Ireland fans, Irish fans around the world of Ireland. And not just only that, I've learned also that there are fantastic talents, Victor, from Cian Levy's to Josh Houlihan to, Dara Marquis and, Connor Noonan to Michael Noonan. There are absolutely brilliant players that are willing to make step-ups and of course, Mason Media and others as well too. The League of Ireland has also made me understand that the League of Ireland is starting to get its popularity how we would expect it to be. Before, it wasn't as popular as you would have expected it to be. Like, people would always say, what is the League of Ireland? They've never watched that before. They've never seen teams like Shamrock Rovers and Derry City and Bohemians and Drogheda and Sligo, and teams that they've never heard of, or Cork City, who's obviously in the first division for next season, and Dundalk and stuff. They haven't seen teams like that. And people always ask me and say to me, what is the League of Ireland? It's like a farmers league. And I'm like, anybody that says that the League of Ireland is a farmers league, then they don't know anything about the League of Ireland. And not just only that as well, not just watching it for talents as well, it's also made me knowledgeable. It's made me feel like I can keep up to date with what's going on in the League of Ireland and keep up to date with what's happening and who's playing, how well I think that the League of Ireland teams can do and how well the managers can do. When you've got elite managers like Stephen Bradley and Stephen Kenny, who's been there and done it all and won more League of Ireland titles than Bradley, then it's a different story and a different scenario. So it's made me learn a lot of great things, and I'm obviously really overwhelmed that I'm able to come on here and explain what's going on, what's happening, give my opinions, give my views. Yes, there's been times where I've been a bit harsh on, like on certain teams. Like, I was harsh on St. Pat's, and because the reason why I was harsh on St. Pat's was because I wanted them to do well. I wanted Mason Media to show his worth and show why he's going to score goals for Tottenham, why he's going to break into that Tottenham first team and make that move and that step up and stuff. Yeah, there were certain teams that I was critical on, and I know maybe they might feel I was being a bit harsh, but I want them to do well. Like Cork City, obviously are relegated and they've gone down. It's not a great sign. it's not great. I think they'll go on and win the first division title again. I think they've got the ability, as long as they keep on
I
hold
hope
of.
so.
Yeah, I mean, as long as they keep hold of Sean Maguire, hope he doesn't go to Galway United on loan, because that would be a very big blow, even though you've just added a striker already. But look, the League of Ireland has just become so popular, and it's made a huge difference. And it's not just only just me that's just enjoyed it this year and enjoyed watching the highlights on YouTube and watching the FI highlights of League of Ireland and stuff like that. It's also bringing new fans together who's never been a fan of the League of Ireland, who's never watched the League of Ireland, who's made the League of Ireland feel as connected as how it is already. Because the League of Ireland is not easy. It's not an easy league to play in. It's very difficult. And when you are going to a Bowls, or you're going to a Shells, or you're going to a St. Pat's, or you're going to a Shamrock Rovers, or you're going to a Sligo, it is very difficult to really fit to play in, and you have to get used to the manager's methods, the formations that the manager, the /the head coach is playing, and also how you're going to line up and link up with those players. So that's also another thing as well. But I've really enjoyed the League of Ireland this year. I'm looking forward to 2026 when it starts again on the 6th of February. I'm looking forward to seeing new faces. You know, Derry City, as I said, are favourites at the moment for me, because they're building a team. They've just added Markey into the team, Slevin into the team as well. They've added Oberlenka from Waterford, so that's a big thing. And then they've just re-signed Brandon Fleming on a new contract, and you know, it's to extend his deal. So that's brilliant for them. So I think Derry City will be favourites to challenge Shamrock Rovers, possibly St. Pat's, if they can, you know, get new players after some players have just gone elsewhere. So it'll be very interesting. I'll be very interested to see what Dundalk does, because I think they're building a side already and bringing in more young talents and more new faces. And I'm looking forward to seeing what Shamrock Rovers do from now to the 6th of February. So that's my my explanation of what I've enjoyed about the League of Ireland.
Yeah, looking forward for it. So thank you very much, Cornell. I want to wish you happy Christmas. And if I don't talk to you before the end of the year, an amazing 26, and we'll meet in a bit over a month, perhaps before February, for the season preview, because your expertise is absolutely necessary. So all the best, mate, and we'll talk soon. Take care.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
So if you are into football, not only Irish football, League of Ireland, I really recommend you checking out the Witty Vítor playlist. It's in, I think it's somewhere on the homepage of this channel. And the best way to be aware of the upcoming sessions with Cornell, because he's the Bible of League of Ireland, is to subscribe to the channel, that you'll be aware when we start. So let's move on. Let's move from football to writing. And next on the line is the Witty Vítor Writers Workshop. Jeroen Maria, you're very welcome.
Hello.
Hello there, folks. How's it going? How are you?
How are you, folks?
All good.
Very good. All good.
Excellent. So before I unveil a couple of cool things we have planned for 2026, I want to thank you both, for showing up every single month for our workshop. And I want to remind people, or those that are new to the channel, that Jeroen is guest number 1. It's something remarkable, and no one can take it away. So I thought we could play the clip of our first, just 30 seconds, if you don't mind. I'm going to show it here just for a bit of nostalgia. So that was in the first 30 seconds of this YouTube channel. Just bear with me and my technology skills, but I think I can make it happen. Okay. Can you hear it? Oh no, there's no sound, no?
No,
No,
there's no sound.
drag the bar the other way.
Yeah, drag the
Yeah.
sound bar is on.
No, other
Nothing.
way, other way.
Yeah, and now
to
drag
see
it all the
what,
way
what,
across.
what it brings. I'm interested.
Start again.
We are on the air. Welcome to the
Oh.
podcast, Jeroen.
Thank you very much, Vitor. Thanks a million for having me. It's it'd be interesting to see what it brings. I'm interested in the topic, and I think it's Thank you so much for having me as a first guest.
Yeah, I'm delighted. I think I couldn't have a better person to kick off this journey. So I'm delighted you are the first. I have to say, just before we go any further, I was a bit concerned whether you would show up or not, because I heard that you were in IKEA, so I was not certain you would survive or not. So I'm glad you are safe and sound.
Yeah, I'm safe and sound, and I haven't been divorced yet, so I'm doing okay.
We are on the air.
Yeah, so that was the first moment of this podcast. Something to never ever forget. That was 28th of January, 24, and here we are on 18 December, still standing. How does it feel to look back on it, Jeroen?
Pretty cool, actually. We've done a fair few things together now over the last, 2 years, I suppose, nearly. And yeah, I've been involved. I've been lucky enough to be involved in a few different things that you've done. But I think for me, the best that I have is the one that we do with the two of you, the Witty Vítor Writers Workshop, which I finally worked out how to say. That's a start. But no, I've really enjoyed that, and I've really enjoyed it as a monthly kind of check-in, and yeah, it's been great. And to be totally frank about it, it's really helped me keep on top of writing, because I felt like otherwise I'd be a bit of an imposter if I'm going on a podcast talking about writing and I haven't done any writing.
Yeah.
So it's kind of given me an enforced, keep writing kind of thing. No, it's been really good. It's been a cool adventure. I can't believe it's nearly 2 years ago since you started. And I've been involved in a few different things, and there's been some great moments. There's some darker moments that we've touched on, like in the Movember one back a month ago. But it's been great. It's been really, really good. I've really enjoyed it.
Yeah, Marie, I think our witty trio wouldn't be the same without you. You are a crucial element of these groups. So I'm curious, since I just got to know you when we started this journey, how does this podcast transformed you, or at least say impacted you as a writer and a person?
I think it's mostly that, writing is a very solitary hobby. You don't talk about the process of writing. You can tell to a few people, you can say to them, oh, I've written a little something. Some of them will be interested, some of them will not, but no one talks about the actual process of writing. It takes another writer to be able to discuss that, because there's a lot of different aspects that I've discovered through the podcast are there, and there's a lot to say about them, whether it's writer's block or things you should or shouldn't talk about, perhaps that whole debate, or being censored or not being censored, all of that. So I think it feels like it doesn't feel so lonely anymore. And it's a little boost of confidence to be able to talk about those things in a safe, friendly, interesting environment where we have so many, different voices sometimes, and we have different opinions on things, and just see that, it can be a very social thing. That's what I really did not expect. That said, okay, you write something and people talk about the piece, not about you, not about your opinions, unless, you're an accredited author and you go out and you talk about that, or you've been interviewed. So I would say it's a transformative experience. It definitely taught me a lot, definitely opened my eyes to a lot of things, seeing different perspectives of it. And I am so looking forward to 2026. I think it's going to be a bigger year, and this one was massive.
I like your optimism, and I certainly share it, because we have all the reasons to be in that mind state at this moment. And let's just use that context to announce for those who are not aware. We are going to have two in-person dates in 2026. We had our first in-person podcast on 4th of November at the Greystones Library. That went pretty well. We received positive feedback. We enjoyed ourselves, so why not repeat it? And with that in mind, we already set up a couple of occasions in our diary. So first will be 20th of January. So guys, mark your calendar if you are around. We will be hosting this Witty Vítor Writers Workshop in Dublin 7 in Smithfield at the Hendrick Hotel. I think we'll start around 7 or 8 p.m. So you are around the Dublin City Centre. January is one of those months that there's not much to do. This is a free event. Just go and make the most of it. We will be there to entertain you, tease you, and interact, because those things are not just the three of us talking. It's a session that the public is part of the conversation. So that's for January, and that's not the only thing that we are looking forward to in 2026. We have another date, 8th of May. That is not in Dublin, but in Country Longford. So we'll be part of Maria Edgeworth Festival, where I was last year, and I'm very happy to go back. And we will run this Witty Vítor Writers Workshop, where we'll discuss writing and all things related to books, and also our perspectives on certain aspects of life that are usually not that widely discussed. So you are all welcome to join us here online and also in person if you happen to be in Ireland in January or May. Maria, let me stay with you for a moment and discuss this topic of online format and in-person experience. How was the transition for you?
It was unexpected in a lot of ways. Like, I'm a very private person myself, so coming on a podcast about all of that was definitely a very big thing. I did not expect would come to feel so comfortable talking about everything. We've been very, very clear and very, very honest on that. So yeah, it was a big surprise for me.
So you felt it was like a new sphere that you didn't know exactly how it's going to look like. And can you say it's one of those things that you want to understand when you are on the field?
Yeah, in the beginning, it's like you don't know how it's going to look like. You don't know the format it's going to be. You don't know what you're going to be talking about. And I think it's transformed to something very, I want to say very reflective as well. Like we think a lot about the topics we discuss. It's like, it's really big conversations. And I like how there's a couple of things to discuss at every podcast. And at the end, we're also reading, as Jeroen said, you have to we're not just talking about it. We're actually putting some work backstage as well. And I don't know, I would really like to see, to get to interact with more people, because I think this is aiming to be like a community thing. So every time someone, comments or talks about it, it makes me really happy. And I think all three of us have had people walk up to them and say that, oh, do you know what? I actually gave it a go, or I've been writing myself. I've never told anyone for such and such. And it's such a wonderful experience to be sharing that. And yeah, it's just, once a month is not enough sometimes, I think. So yeah.
Yeah, perhaps we need to increase the frequency. By the way, if someone is watching us and they're interested in having the three of us running a show, we are more than happy. We can do it online, we can do it in person. So the way to book us is to email us. So you can email info@ringofculture.com. We will schedule a date according to everyone's agenda. We are open for partnerships, and as Maria just stated, we are more than happy to reach out to new audiences, because it's something that we enjoy, especially when people are dynamic and are more than willing to share their perspectives on things that we also have an opinion on. Jeroen, in our last podcast, you mentioned that you have been saying yes to more things lately. I think it's a very interesting way to approach life. Would you like to expand that?
Yeah, and that's partially down to the podcast, to be honest with you, Vitor. Yeah, I decided this year that I was going to say yes to things where maybe I traditionally would have made excuses, or I would have said no, or whatever. I basically said no. I'm going to flip that on its head, and I'm going to just say yes to things, and it's basically down to, or partially down to, the podcast that I started doing that, because the podcast for me was a say yes moment, something that I've thoroughly enjoyed, something that I've really got a lot out of. And I just was like, well, why not do that further in life? So I've done some things this year that I would never have done in my life, including also, like, working on some of the other podcasts that you had asked me to do, where I was initially maybe going, ooh, do I know enough to speak? But then my say yes philosophy was making me go, yeah, well, just do it, So it's been a very kind of a positive year in for myself, but also I've done things this year that I would never have done. And if you asked me 3 or 4 years ago, would you do this? Would you do that? I would have said, not in your life. Like, I would just, no. Or I would have made an excuse, or I wouldn't have been confident enough to do, certain things that I've done this year. And I've done them out of purely, I'm saying yes. And I said it the last day when we were talking, that it was kind of my New Year's resolution, if you like. One was to write a lot, which I've done, and that's been great. And the other one was to say yes to things. And it's definitely, I'm going to take it forward as a New Year's resolution in 2026 to say even more yes, and just put myself in those uncomfortable situations, put myself into things that I wouldn't feel normally that I'm going to be part of. Now I'm like, do it. Yeah, okay, if you're going to ask me for €1 million, I'll probably say no, but pretty much everything else I'm going to say yes to. You know what I mean? And also, I have to say, like the podcast jumper, my famous podcast jumper, say yes moment, you know what I mean? Like, everybody's starting to recognize me with my famous podcast jumper now, you know what I mean?
I would say if you continue towards moving towards fame, that jumper will worth 1 million in a month or two. So
then you can ask me for the million, no problem. And then maybe
exactly. Because of a jumper, no?
A podcast jumper. That's a different
podcast jumper. Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. So if someone is interested in a replica, we can open a shop and sell Jeroen's podcast jumper.
We can sell it with branding on it. You know what I mean?
I know one.
And I would say there'll be two versions.
I'm wearing my podcast jumper.
Yeah, but I would offer
podcast jumper. So do I.
I would offer two types. One, it's a brand new. Another one is used, and used is more expensive. After the podcast.
Yeah, I love it. Like a match-worn replica kit, but this is a podcast-worn jumper. Yeah, I mean, there's a market for it. You know what I mean? Why not?
There's a market for it. Yeah. We need to get on business, guys. I have the feeling we could be here for ages, which is nothing new.
Always,
Has been up, but in the interest of time, I have to move to the next topic. So, look, best of luck with your writing and your jumpers. Joyful Christmas. Amazing new year, if we don't talk before that. And in 2026, as Maria said, is going to be amazing. So I cannot thank you enough.
You are more than welcome. Thank you very much for having both of us.
Wow. Bye.
See you soon.
Take care. So before I bring in Carlos to talk about the Portuguese language series focus on Israel affairs, I want to make one thing very, very clear, okay? The English language version of the Israel affairs podcast is here to stay. It might undergo a few adjustments, but it's not going anywhere. And as you may know, it's the backbone of this channel, and these conversations, they feel more urgent than ever. So with that in mind, I'm going to bring Carlos Romeira. Carlos, my friend, how are you?
Hi, how are you, Victor? Thank you very much for this the invitation to be here today to talk with you. And thank you very much for your work in your podcast and for the partnership that you have made here in Portugal with also my project, Europa Hoje ao Meio-Dia, and joining forces to start this podcast in Portugal. To talk especially about the issue of Israel and around the conflict with the Palestinians.
Yeah, I was actually, to be honest, a bit concerned that you couldn't make it, because yesterday we had a podcast until very late. Did you manage to get some sleep?
Yeah, I think we have beat a record almost, at least the records with the guest, more than 2 hours, I suppose.
Yes.
It was until late, but it was a very, very interesting conversation. It was with Hannah Hayal. I don't know
yes,
how it's spoken. Well, I don't know if people here knows about our podcast, or if it is supposed to describe what we do in Portugal. Can I?
Yeah, I can give some context before you expand. So we actually tried to launch this partnership while I was still in Israel, between bankers and live streams to the national media in Portugal. But as we set up the first session, I don't know if you recall, Carlos, that was the day that I was told, you can go out. The embassy just told me, you can go out, we can evacuate you by Egypt. And I end up in a military operation via the Egyptian border with the support of the Portuguese military and embassies with whom I want to thank again in public, because they were fantastic. Eventually got started in July, and it's going very well. And I also want to extend my gratitude to Sophia, who couldn't be here tonight. So let us know, where are we now?
Yes, and she's not here today, Sophia. She started as our, I think, our first guest, and then she remains as a resident. And she's one of the parts that we cannot miss anyway from our project, which is, I believe, that because I have no other notice of other podcasts in Portugal talking about the problem, the conflict of Israel-Palestinian. Well, there are several podcasts, but not specifically dedicated to the subject. Sometimes they have one session talking about it, but I believe we are the only one who make a podcast only specifically for this subject. And sometimes we talk just between us, but sometimes we have a guest most often of the times, and it's being very difficult to get guests bringing the other part of the view of the conflict, the part which who brings the Palestinian view. I don't know if it's because of lack of courage, or if it's a little bit because they know that we also don't make simply analysis or simply opinions. We always try to prove with the documents, with statistics, dates, names, places. We don't talk nothing out of from the real history, and probably because of that, sometimes they are afraid to face us in Portugal to discuss the problem. I believe it happens.
Yeah, I'd say these people are allergic to facts. That's why they don't want to talk
probably
to us. Here is one of our viewers. He is usually with us on our sessions. We do it every 2 weeks, typically on Tuesdays. He said, I missed the main part of the episode. Don't worry, this is stored on YouTube. So if you missed the initial parts, you can always go back when we finish. So this is here to stay. So that's not an issue. So I hope you enjoy the rest. Carlos, for 2026, looking now for the future, we already have a strong lineup of high-quality guests confirmed. I'm not going to reveal their names for now, but we can guarantee the viewers that they are people that are aware of the situation in Israel and geopolitics. So they're going to add a lot of value to the conversation. But we have another one, a special episode in place. We want to cover the Portuguese presidential election on the night of election, which if I'm not mistaken, is the 18th. What are you looking forward the most for 2026 between all of these?
Well, in Portugal, there are a very deep wish of knowing more about the conflict of Israel and Palestine. Is this the main subject of our podcast? That one dedicated to the president elections will be an exception. Probably going to have on that section a surprise with someone who will bring us a new view about the constitution of Portugal, but in the rest of the year, I expect to confirm our podcast as probably one of the most important way to send a message to the Portuguese people. There are a need to inform persons about what's going on, but by the reality on the field. There are lots of information based not on facts, in lies, in through, and that it doesn't put people on the right place to make their own decisions and to choose what they have to think about this subject. In my opinion, is urgent in Portugal that we could bring the reality and to bring the point of view of Israel, because of course we are impartials. We never say that the part of Israel is always perfect, like any other country. They commit some errors. They did it on the past. There were some ways that was not probably the best way, but there's a huge problem, which is it makes some echoes in the rest of the world. And it comes from that place of the world, and I believe that in 2026 this conflict will not end. Probably it will climb up even more, and of course there must be some people on the field like us who bring some information by the real way, and at least to show the reality, because in Portuguese TVs, in Portuguese media, even in network, there are lots of fake news, not only in intensity but also in quantity, and people starting to make some connections, emotional connections with some narratives, and it will be very difficult to change that way.
Yeah, and that's our mission. And we are filling a gap, and not only in the mainstream media, but as you just said, even in the alternative sphere like YouTube or social social media. There's no one dedicated focus on this topic, and that's what we are trying to deliver. So if you speak Portuguese, make sure to join myself, Carlos, and Sofia, and sometimes a guest every second Tuesday around dinner time. I think we are providing information that is not being widely shared. We are all independent voices. We are all people who think by ourselves, and we are being honest and authentic in our analysis. That's why I'm very glad to have this partnership with you, Carlos. I let you go for now. It was a great pleasure to have you here. Happy Christmas if I don't talk to you before that. And
Merry Christmas to you too.
Best of luck for 2026.
Vitor, thank you very much. I hope you all the best for your podcast, not only in English language, but also in your parcel in Portuguese with this partnership in Portugal. It's very important for the Portuguese either.
Sure. Take care. Have a good evening. Bye. So I'm glad you are still there, because now I want to briefly introduce the Ring of Culture, the business I just launched. So I'm just going to show you the web page, how it looks, and then I'm going to take you through a few of the sections that composed my new venture. So let me see where I share this here. So the website is already up and running. Here it is, ringofculture.com. It's very easy to remember. And my business is composed of a few sections: translations, workshops, publications, mentorships, tours, and podcasts. You can sign up for the newsletter. I haven't really started. I'm hoping to launch the first, if not the end of this year, next year. And we are ready to kick some ass in 2026. It is our slogan. Quality is our only commitment. That's all we care. We are not interested in quotas. It's all about merit, because I think merit has been overlooked in our society. And I'm trying to bring it back as a metric to reward the best. So what is Ring of Culture? I would say Ring of Culture is not just a brand. It's an ecosystem of creative work that grow naturally out of everything I've been doing here over the years: writing, podcasting, events, workshops, and international collaborations. At its core, Ring of Culture supports long form and critical thinking. What does that include? Writing and publishing, books, essays, poetry, independent, hybrid publishing, and translation projects across language. The podcast side, which is where we are now, which is all about real conversations that don't fit into sound bites, whether it's about culture, Israel-focused discussions, football, or writing. This channel is very much part of that ecosystem. So if you enjoy what we do here, I would say you will also be pleased with the Ring of Culture, with other Ring of Culture aspects, and vice versa. Another arm of the Ring of Culture is workshops and education, especially writing workshops like the one you were just told about, the Witty Vítor Writers Workshop. I aim to do those sessions both online, in person, and the focus is always on the community, not just the content. We also work in the live space, so we are open for events, festivals, libraries, and cultural institutions, bringing conversations off the screen and back into real rooms. And finally, Ring of Culture develops cultural projects and partnerships, often international, and always focus on dialogue where it's most censored. So Ring of Culture is open, and it's open for you guys that are watching this podcast. If you are a writer, an editor, translator, organizer, or creative of any sort, and this mindset resonates, there may be space for collaboration. Have a look at the website, ringofculture.com and see what's the field that is a best fit for you, for your skills, and contact us by emailing info@ringofculture.com. So that's the Ring of Culture. I'm very looking forward for it in 2026. But let's focus on the Witty Vítor podcast, because that's where we are now. And I mentioned a couple of formats I explored in this year, or outside the main formats, but there are a couple that perhaps I'll be able to develop in 2026. One is what I've just experimented, the Witty Walks, what I call the Witty Walks, where I basically go with my gimbal and say a couple of things about everything. Basically, I don't have a specific agenda or script. I just like to share some aspects of my personal life, what is bothering me at that point in time, and what solutions I have at reach to get by. So I would, like, on those Witty Walks, I would mostly get busy with personal development. Perhaps there'll be space for other things, because one item that I haven't really touched to the extent I would desire is travel, and hopefully that's something that I can bring it back to the spotlight in the upcoming year. So let me know what you think. Is there any element that I should explore more? Is there any angle that I may not be aware, and perhaps I can put my hands on? I'm more than happy to do some adjustments and explore aspects that I haven't really touched base recently. To make them happy, to make them happening, there are a couple of things that I need to be very mindful of. One is discipline. I cannot get this job done if I'm not focused. But at the same time, I cannot overdo, because if I put a lot of effort, and I often become overwhelmed, and that's something I want to avoid, because I know that down the road it doesn't work out. I mean, I've been there, and I really don't want to experiencing again. So that's probably one of the last live streams of this year. I'm still questioning myself whether I will go back live at the end of the year, but between now and say 29/30, okay, there won't be any live stream. That's a decision I already made. I want to take a break. That's something that I usually do during the Christmas period, not because I'm busy with the festivities, but I often isolate myself and try to get sorted some aspects of my life. I plan, I meditate. Basically, it's an introspective period that I always experience in that time of the year, and I look forward to it. We'll start, I'm very open about it, we'll start on Saturday, and it will last until Stephen's Day, the 26th. And I think it's crucial for my well-being and for my business and creative plans. So that's it from my end. If you want to keep connected, I'll be more than happy. There are different ways. You can join this channel as a Witty mate or Witty diplomat. The memberships are available just under me. So be somewhere between the thumbs up and the subscribe button, if I'm not mistaken. If you want to reward us with a super chat, super thanks, I'll be more than grateful, because I more and more depend on your support to keep this project going. And I'm going to say goodbye for now. Wish everyone awesome Christmas. And if I don't speak before the new year, which is still a question mark, since I'm not quite sure about my plans for the last days of the year, I wish you a fantastic 26. I hope you enjoy yourself and you'll catch it. Bye. Have a good evening. Take care. Bye. 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 Bye.